One nice thing about last night was that, without hockey, I was like, hey, I know what I can do. I can get mad at Barry Allen. I've discussed this before. That Barry Allen's kind of the villain. So when they have an episode last night where it's like, hey, something's wrong with the Speed Force, I'm like, bitch, it's Barry's fault. And I was right. Because, of course, it was. That being said, the Flash is still, I think, the best show, maybe, in the DC TV universe. Now, I don't have Titans on the board, even though Titans has kind of become canon since Crisis. And Crisis, it feels like they built up the Crisis of Infinite Earths as this big thing, and it happened. The big crossover, the 5 hours, it's just insane. It's ridiculous. It was way too long. I'm just throwing that out there. I think it was way too long. I think it was a huge achievement, sure, but you at least could have shaved off an hour or something. Because I got lost at points where I'm like, wait, why is this happening? Why are we taking this detour? Oh, good. We're going to have this huge detour, and then we're going to end up at the end of this episode, right where the last one ended off, I guess. So that's kind of how I felt with Crisis. But I understand what they were doing there, maximizing interest in all their shows. Is basically what they're doing. That's what the crossovers are about. Now, The Flash is, I think, still pretty good. The biggest problem Flash has had this season is a lack of focus, which is weird because you have Crisis. But Crisis, I think, should have been at the end of the season, not in the middle. Because you have this build-up of before Crisis, Crisis happens, and then after. So it kind of feels like two muddled seasons after each other. So you got Iris in a mirror right now. And am I the only one looking at this not really Iris outside the mirror and going, okay, she's been out of the mirror for weeks pretending to be Iris. She has to have slept with Barry by now. Although Barry doesn't seem to have any romantic interest in his wife whatsoever. So maybe not. Maybe that's just not there. Maybe he says to her, hey, that's not what our relationship's about. So you just keep your hands to yourself. I don't know, because there's absolutely no romance between Iris and Barry, and there hasn't been for a long time. There's more chemistry between Caitlin and Cisco. And they're not. That's just the point I'm making. That there's nothing. And Ralph comes and goes. Some episodes he's part of the team, and then he disappears for a while. It's the other problem I have with this season. I'm like, oh, you're back. That's convenient. And Allegra has apparently been bumped up to a regular next year. Good for her. I like Allegra a lot, and I actually was worried they were just going to kill her off. Because it's what they do with everybody. And they keep teasing that Nora's still a thing, Barry's daughter. I'm pretty sure she's not coming back to the show, but maybe. And then what do you do? Because you got all these speedsters. I don't know. And then the whole Speed Force thing, it's kind of muddled. And it feels like they're a season away from really jumping the shark, from having an episode that's really kind of dumb. So I'm going to move on from Flash to Supergirl. Supergirl, I've enjoyed at times. Supergirl's frustrating because you can see a good show there. And Melissa Benoist is a delight. She's fantastic. I remember when they announced she was going to be Supergirl, and I was like, I don't know. She doesn't look or sound. I don't know. It doesn't feel. And then I watched the show and I went, yeah, okay. No, I get it. She's Supergirl. And it works. But they keep... I don't know how to put it. Every season they seem to completely change things. And it gets kind of off-putting. And they can have John Cryer as Lex for as long as they want. I don't like him as Lex. I don't like the way they write Lex Luthor. I just don't. Lex Luthor's so tricky. And if it's not Michael Rosenbaum, to me it's not Lex. Smallville ruined it, because that was Lex Luthor. Where I'm watching and going, okay, that's real. Not Gene Hackman was excellent, sure, in the late 70s, early 80s. Fine, that was a great performance. But it was a hammy performance. And the real, you can believe he's evil, but you can also see why Lex Luthor was Michael Rosenbaum in Smallville. Absolutely fantastic performance. And right up until about season 5, it's pretty good. And then Smallville went right off a cliff. Scared to fly. Idiot. I don't want to fall down. You're Superman. You're fine. People fall down all the time. In one episode, he sneezed. Stupid. And big deal, he sneezed. Oh, no. So... Now, of course, we'd all freak out. Superman sneezing. This thing's getting everybody. Anyhow, Legends of Tomorrow I want to move on to, because to me, Supergirl, I have not been able to get into it. I watched parts of season 3. I know they're in season 5. I watched parts of season 3 on Netflix. I found myself skipping episodes. I would look at the synopsis and go, I can skip that. I can skip that. And I eventually skip right up till the ending. And I'm like, okay, so I'll watch the ending of this season. All right, well, that wasn't bad, I guess. But instead of watching 23 episodes, I think I watched maybe 5 or 6. Like, I didn't care. And that's a problem. Legends of Tomorrow is a show that started out kind of crappy. I'm going to be honest. I thought it was a mess. The first couple episodes I watched, I thought it was a mess. They had, Rory from Doctor Who on there, and I like Arthur Darvill a lot, but I didn't like him on the show. And eventually he gets sacrificed. And honestly, since he left and Sarah Lance became the captain, it's kind of been a better show. And when they brought in Constantine, that helped last year. Now, where the problem is this year, and I've been mumbling about this while I'm watching it, there's always 3 plot lines going on at the same time. So what you have is you have a show that's like 46 minutes or however long an hour-long broadcast is without commercials now. It used to be 52, went to 46. I think it's 42 now or something ridiculous. Good luck getting a really good show in that amount of time. I miss TV shows being longer. This is why I think shows that are on Netflix specifically, shows that don't have to adhere to being an exact number of minutes, I think they're better. They're really, really good. You can have an episode that's 5 minutes longer, 5 minutes shorter, and as long as it's written well, it doesn't matter. But for network TV, and this is part of the reason I think why network TV is dying, because it really restricts writers. If you're a writer, you're much better off being on one of the online ones. The problem is, if it's Netflix, they'll cancel you. And it doesn't matter if your show's good or not. As soon as the budget's going to go up, they'll cancel you. And it's a risky thing for them to do, because eventually people will cancel. So yeah, Legends of Tomorrow has gotten better. But this season is driving me nuts. How you'll have the Wave Riders split into 3 groups that are in 3 completely different stories. So it's not like what Constantine is doing is affecting what's on the Wave Rider or the other way around. And so you have these incredible shifts in tone from one scene to the next. One scene you might be in France during the French Revolution, and everybody's all dressed having a party. And then the next, Constantine's fighting the powers of hell. You're like, this tonally kind of seems to be all. So I hope they fix that. I hope that with the Constantine storyline, that they get this together so everybody's kind of on the same page, and we're not seeing this huge fracturing on the show. Because I love all the characters. I think part of the reason I like Legends so much is I love all the characters. I don't like, now again, I don't like throwing out spoilers, but I think for people who watch it, you're going to know what I'm talking about, because I think you would have watched this by now. Zari was kind of shoehorned back into the show, and I don't like how they did it. I'm going to straight up say, I love Zari. I think she's fantastic. And I want her and the young guy to get together. I think that's where they're going with it. But, man, I think the way they shoehorned her back into it, and it's not even that they shoehorned her back in, it's immediately. So it's sort of like, oh, she's been wiped out of existence. But never mind, because here's a teaser. Oh, and then the first episode, yeah, no, we're going to bring her back. All right, well, there goes that whole cliffhanger. They didn't even really make it much of a cliffhanger. I think they would have been better off to wait a little bit. But maybe they didn't think they'd get another season, which they have. There's another season coming for Legends, which I'm glad about. Really honestly am. I was nervous they were going to get canceled this year. Black Lightning, I honestly haven't watched it. It's on the board because it's part of the DC universe, and I feel bad for not watching it. But when you've got all this going on, and again, normally I'm watching hockey games every night, right? So I have to binge watch where I can, when I can, and get stuff in there. So Black Lightning kind of fell by the wayside. So I'm going to let people in the comment section below let me know if Black Lightning's a show that I should get into, get all caught up on, or if I can continue to kind of disregard it as I did Arrow. See how I segued into Arrow? Nice. Arrow I was really into at one point, and then, right up until the Merlin storyline. So right up around the point where Merlin leaves, I kind of couldn't do it anymore. Arrow got, I don't know if preachy is the right word for it, but it just wasn't that good. It felt like it had peaked. I really honestly really enjoyed Arrow the first couple of seasons a ton, but then you bring in John Barrowman and he's Merlin, and yeah, all right. I will watch almost anything with John Barrowman in it because John Barrowman's he's a god. But and if you watch Doctor Who, you know he kind of sort of is uh, Captain Jack before Captain Jack, right? Meaning Captain Jack on Doctor Who before Captain Jack on Pirates of the Caribbean. I'm pretty sure. I'm trying to think now. I don't have my timelines in front of me. And it's all kind of wibbly wobbly, timey wimey, anyways, right? Yeah, you guys know what I'm talking about. Full on 100% geek on that one. So Arrow kind of lost me at that point, and knowing that it was ending didn't help. And now they're doing potentially doing the the series that follows Arrow, which is going to follow his daughter. I like the actress that plays his daughter. I kind of like what they're doing with it. I heard it was picked up, and then I think it's the producer or the director said no, not yet, kind of thing. Like, wait, pump the brakes. We haven't been picked up yet. We're hoping, but we haven't been picked up yet. So at last I heard it hadn't been picked up. I might follow that series when it comes around. The series I'm ending on though in this video is Batwoman. And I've been really disappointed in Batwoman. I have tried a few times. It's just too dark. And it just it goes a little bit too far for my liking. And it's slow. The episodes I watched are kind of slow. And the other thing that's weird for me is what's with the hair on the costume? Like, it's really, really bizarre. Like, I could just imagine the Flash if he had this really nifty outfit and a nice big mullet up on top of it. It just, like, it just destroys. It just destroys the whole thing. And so to me, Batwoman should look like Batman. Just it's a woman, and the hair, I don't understand unless it has special powers, and I haven't seen it. Special hair powers. I don't know, but Batwoman is not a show that I've found myself following much at all. I don't mind. I don't think there's a problem with having a woman superhero show, and I know there'll be a debate about that till the end of time. But you have to make them good. You have to make them engaging. You have to make it so that it's an exciting show to watch and it draws you in. And I didn't feel that with Batwoman. I was just sort of like, why is that happening? Why does this feel like Seven? You know, the old movie with Brad Pitt. I say old movie, and yet to me it doesn't feel like an old movie, but it kind of sort of is. So yeah, to me, I can't follow Batwoman. So I'm anxious to find out how many more times Barry Allen's going to be dumb enough to sleep with a woman that's not his wife before he realizes it's not her. Which just leads to all these just weird thoughts in my head, like, well, does she have all of her memories? Like, what? How does she know all this stuff? Like, how is she still got Iris? Like, it doesn't. I really let the mirror universe thing drop it. I really, honestly, I was sort of like, well, this will be good for a couple weeks. And this week's episode, I was sort of rolling my eyes and going, this is still happening? Why is this still happening? And then her brother's like, yeah, there's something wrong with her, but I gotta go. Like, seriously, you know something's wrong with your sister. I gotta go. People need me. Oh, but your sister needs you, dude. Like, whatever. All right, so there you go. DC Universe. My opinions on it as it is. If you don't watch DC Universe, I would recommend Legends of Tomorrow. I would probably skip season 1, but that's me. Again, I was not a big fan of season 1. There was a lot of, I don't know if I like this going on with season 1, but from there on, it's gotten better. And the crew they have is really pretty good. And again, once they added Constantine, it felt like that was the supernatural element it needed, which it's worthy of note. There's sort of a supernatural crossover with Legends of Tomorrow that everybody was talking about this week, where they feature the Chevy Impala, and there's a sign that says warning, you know, they're supernatural shooting here kind of thing in Vancouver. So honestly, Sam and Dean, because that show's winding down, putting Sam and Dean into the Legends of Tomorrow show would be fantastic for like a one-off. I think that would be absolutely perfect. I think with Constantine, you absolutely have a backdoor. You could put Crowley into this for an episode and just have it be absolutely amazing. You could put Castiel into this for an episode and have it be absolutely amazing. I don't know if that ever would happen. Maybe next year kind of thing, right? You could have a supernatural type episode just thrown in the middle. I think that's one of the things with Legends that I can recommend to people who don't necessarily follow the DC Universe. Maybe you're a hockey fan looking for something to watch right now. Legends has a little bit of everything. Every episode is something different. So it's not as routine feeling as some of the other shows. You have a formula, but it does deviate from that formula at times, and characters will leave and come back. Many characters leave and come back. Some of them leave, don't come back. Some of them leave, come back almost a year later, kind of thing. So, uh, it is interesting, and characters do get killed off and written out, and so it's interesting because who's on the wave rider changes all the time. I'm also, I have to say in closing too, the cutest thing on the show, and it is a show with, got hell and devils and fire all over the place, but the cutest thing on the show is that Ray and Nora, who have been star-crossed lovers for over a year on the show, they're married in real life. So every time they have a scene together where they're kind of cutesy with each other, I'm like, you know what, that is really adorable that they're actually married and that they're playing this scene, and I just think it's really, really fun. I think it's great. The show does not take itself seriously. Not that Flash does either. Most of them don't. A lot of the stuff on these shows ends up being tongue in cheek because when you take yourself too seriously, it can be hard to get through Batwoman. But Legends doesn't take itself seriously at all. It really, really doesn't. Uh, just some of the big battles they've had and just how amazing they are. Yeah, it's some great stuff. So there you go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video, and that's right. During the off season, I always produce more videos on the Entertainment Guy channel. Right now, without sports, I can do plenty of videos for the Entertainment Guy channel at any time of day. And, my wife has said, hey, and you can go anywhere. We can, we can get in the van and go out and film videos outdoors, and we can do something different during this time. So there's some fun stuff coming. So thank you guys so much for your support. Do hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. And I guess the real question is, why does Barry Allen always screw everything up that he touches? Why last year was it, I have to save all these people that were on the bus, every one of them dies, and nobody at any point goes, I think maybe Barry's the problem. Barry helped round all these people up, am I right? Didn't Barry help the bad guy round up all of these people so they die? And the answer is yes. Yes, Barry Allen, unwittingly, is the villain of The Flash, and yet I have a Flash jersey. This, of course, I got from Geeky Jerseys, as jerseys I wear on this channel are usually. I have other ones on the way as well, pre-orders that I'm waiting on. So I've got a really cool Mandalorian one coming. So I'm excited about the Mandalorian one. No, it's not Baby Yoda exactly, but it's the silhouette of. Anyways, you guys will see when it arrives. Thank you guys so much for all your support. I'll talk to you again soon.